Cliff writes in, it has always seemed to me that work rate was a big factor in who ROH decided to book as their world champion, but not a big factor in who was booked as world champion in WWE. For example, I can understand why Michael Elgin was booked as champ in ROH, but can never see WWE giving him that same distinction because he's so bland as a personality. On the other hand, I can see why WWE has booked John Cena as their champion, but can never see Ring of Honor doing the same because his style of wrestling is not the ROH standard. Which members of the ROH roster could you see as WWE champion, and which members of the WWE roster could you see as ROH champions? Obviously, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are excluded. And you know what? We'll throw Seth Rollins in there too, because Rollins is a former ROH champion, and obviously he's doing very well in WWE, so we'll put him on the side as well. The first name that comes to mind to me, and one of the few, in terms of a current ROH star who I could easily see being a WWE champion at some point, Adam Cole. Adam Cole is a guy that I never used to think much of him as far as his personality and his character. You know, he was a good wrestler. I would hear about him. I would watch some of his matches on YouTube to get familiar with him. But he has really come into his own as a heel personality in Ring of Honor. And I hope he gets the belt back soon. I hope he gets the Ring of Honor championship back at some point soon. Adam Cole for sure, and I would not be shocked at all if WWE had him on their radar and brought him in next year. In 2015, I would be stunned if Adam Cole did not end up getting a tryout for developmental and then brought to NXT. Let's put it that way. So I could absolutely see him as a WWE champion at some point. AJ Styles is the other one. Technically, he is a member of the ROH roster, and I could see him being a WWE champion if they wanted him. Those are the only two. I actually went on the ROH site, looked at their current roster from top to bottom, and they've got a lot of talented guys, but those are the only two that really jumped out at me as I could see them as being WWE champion. Nobody else did. And maybe that'll change as those guys build up more of a profile for themselves, but right now, those are the two that jump out at me. As far as the opposite, what members of the WWE roster could I see being the ROH champion? You know what? In terms of main eventers, like some of the tippy-top guys they've got on that roster right now, Randy Orton. Randy Orton is I mean, in a lot of ways, he's kind of the complete package, right? He's a great wrestler. He's got a good mind for the business. As a personality, kind of dull. He has his moments. But there's something about him. He's got that intangible that makes him almost like the complete wrestler and probably one of the best at it right now. Not the best, but probably way up there. So it's not like Randy Orton's work style doesn't jive with Ring of Honor. And he's so good that ROH, if they ever picked him up, they'd be crazy not to put the belt on him. So Randy Orton would be one. Dean Ambrose would be another. Cesaro, who was in Ring of Honor, was never a world champion, though. Dolph Ziggler. I think if Dolph Ziggler one day gets cut, they finally cut bait on him, and he's a free agent, and he goes to Ring of Honor, absolutely. And imagine the matches that Dolph Ziggler could probably have in the main event of ROH shows with some of the guys they have on that roster. So we have Orton, we have Ambrose, we have Cesaro, Ziggler. A guy like Bray Wyatt, I think, would also do very well in Ring of Honor. Not the most technically gifted guy, but good enough and plays his character so damn well, where I would have no problem buying into Bray Wyatt as champion any more than I did Homicide. What makes Homicide such a better wrestler than Bray Wyatt? You know what I mean? So I think if you have a strong enough personality and you're a good wrestler, and obviously the guy can cultivate a fan following for himself, I think Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family would do very well in Ring of Honor. And the one other name I'll throw on that list, Tyson Kidd. I know Tyson Kidd has largely, for many years, been treated as a joke in WWE. I was very happy to see him finally come into his own as a heel character. He's been one of the more entertaining parts of NXT for this entire year. I don't watch Total Divas, but I've been told he's pretty entertaining on that show too, and also a horrible husband. But I think there's no question about his in-ring talent. Anybody who doubts that is a fool. But I think what he's proven in the last few months on NXT, even just the last 3 or 4 months, is that as a personality, he can carry the load. I think he's been a great heel. I think he's cut good promos. And he's the kind of guy I think who perfectly fits that ROH mold. And like a lot of those guys back in the day that really became popular in Ring of Honor, whether it's Austin Aries, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson. Tyson Kidd kind of fits into that category. He's about the same size. So I think Tyson Kidd, if he ever went there, maybe they'd be hesitant just because of the fact that he spent so long in WWE as an undercard guy that... I don't think TNA, for example, would have any problem at all bringing in a Tyson Kidd and putting the belt on him. Ring of Honor, I think, might have more reservations about that based on the way the guy's been booked for the last, 8 or 9 years, however long it's been. But I think he'd have a shot, and I think if he got the shot, he'd be a great Ring of Honor champion. So that's my list. Randy Orton, Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, Bray Wyatt, and Tyson Kidd. I think those are the names that would go far and would probably make good ROH champions if they ever went over there.